Hey guys, it's Jessica from Peace Love Books and Shame here with a recommendations video for you for unique historical romance recommendations. This one I stole the idea from Lacey Book Lovers. She did this video back during the historical romance readathon, so a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it was a great idea, so I wanted to do it, but I will link her video down below. I am here in my Fugly Barbie Highland romance sweatshirt. I had to wear it for today's video, even though I don't think a single one of these are Highlander romances, but that's okay. One of them is, actually. One of them is. But I am really excited to do this because I love historical romances and there are a lot of really unique plot lines and characters that are involved in a lot of them. So I have a big stack here and I'll go ahead and get to my recommendations. The first one I have is actually pretty far down in the series, and that is Dearest Rogue by Elizabeth Hoyt. We have this really pretty garden scene set back, and I read this one as one of the first ones in the series that I'd read, and they can all be read out of order, but it is a lot more fun when some of them are in order because this character is actually the sister of the character in Duke of Midnight, and I read Duke of Midnight after this and I was like, oh, that's her. Our heroine's actually blind and she gets like a kind of bodyguard assigned to her, and the bodyguard has a limp because he was injured in war, and he's very grumpy, and they fall in love together, so it's kind of like a bodyguard romance. I really love when we have disability rep in historical romances because they were treated a lot differently in historical romances than they are today, and so it's really interesting to see that. So if it's well researched, it's really a good story. Notorious Vow by Joanna Shupe I recently read, and he's a deaf character, and they actually tried putting him in an insane asylum because of his disability, and so in this one it's a really fun romance because she doesn't feel limited by her disability, so she tries to go out and do things that she really shouldn't be doing because it's dangerous, but she does it anyways, and he gets frustrated with her, but it's a really cute romance. So I thought this was really fun. I haven't read anything like it and I would definitely recommend it. I can't do this video without a pirate recommendation, so I have the Lady Pirate by Lindsay Sands. This one, she is the pirate, and there is this thing, I don't remember what was different about theirs, but they both have to get married in order to come into money, and she is a lady pirate. She's grown up at sea. She has no lady mannerisms or manners or anything of that sort, but she has to pretend to be a lady to get a husband so that she can get access to this money, and he also needs to do the same thing, and so she like enlists the help of her crew, and they have to pretend to be like her footmen and her servants, and like people are like, these people are so weird because they're pirates and they don't know how to live in normal society, and it's really fun. And then she ends up falling in love with him. I really enjoy this. If you want that kind of aspect, I actually have another female pirate recommendation in here because it's just so unique. We always have the male pirate stories, but I had a lot of fun with this one. She is the captain, so she's used to being in command, so I would definitely recommend this. Then I have The Hunter by Kerrigan Byrne. This is book 2 in the series. I read the series completely out of order, so that's fine, but this is an assassin romance, and I love a good assassin. These are all unique because they have really unique characters or plot points in them, and so in this one, he is hired to murder our heroine, and instead of killing her, he decides to kiss her when they first meet, and she is a single mom, and there's a reason someone's trying to get after her, and so we kind of unravel that mystery about why there's this hit on her, and it has to do with, I don't want to spoil anything, but I think she's an actress as well. I thought she was an actress, but I could be making that up, but it's really good. He then is starting to like protect her from other people trying to kill her, so it's a really great romance. You can't go wrong with Kerrigan Byrne. I feel like hers are very unique in the fact that they are a little bit darker, a little bit grittier. He definitely goes through a lot in the beginning, so he is born in prison, and it's very sad. So there are triggers for definitely sexual assault and loss of a loved one in here because he has to watch his mother go through that in prison because his mother was in prison, but I would definitely recommend this book. Then Lisa from Remarkably Lisa told me to read this, and I did, and that is Once More My Darling Rogue by Lorraine Heath, and we have this really pretty setback in here. This one is an amnesia romance, and all amnesia romances are unique to me because I feel like we don't have enough of them in like mainstream romance. You really gotta dig for them. This one, they absolutely hate each other. He has come into money, like he's made his own money, and she is from money, and so people really look down upon him, and she kind of makes fun of him for it because she knows it grates on his nerves. And then she's found in the Thames, and I feel like every amnesia romance, they're found in the Thames just without memory. And it was obvious someone had tried to kill her, and so he finds her and he didn't recognize her at first. And he's like, oh my gosh, it's you. And so he decides to tell her she's his servant, and so she starts like waiting on him, and she's like, this doesn't feel right. She's like, I feel like I should be the one being served, like that's what feels natural. And then they fall in love, and then of course she's gonna get her memory back, and it is so good. I really love this. If you like enemies to lovers, and then it's kind of like the Overboard situation, the 80s movie with Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. Classic, and it was so good. I really cannot recommend this enough. Then we have Destiny's Captive by Beverly Jenkins. This is our other female pirate one. I think all of the Beverly Jenkins books are extremely unique. I do have another one on this list that I will get to a little bit later, but this one is book 3 in the Destiny series. I do think you should read it in order, but this one, she is a female pirate, and she ends up stealing his ship, and he is determined to track her down, find out where his ship was, and then she's also in a little bit of trouble because she is a pirate, so she's trying to run away from that, and that's all I really want to say about the plot, but it was so good, and like, she literally steals his ship, and it's just, I love a strong heroine, and I would definitely recommend this series. This one was great. Book 2 is my favorite though, but I still really enjoyed all 3 of them in the series and would recommend it. Then I have The Raycast by Scarlett Peckham. I absolutely adore this book. I read it at the very beginning of January, and this one, she is a Raycast. So normally we have the rakes and the guys who are all going around town, sleeping with whoever they want to, and the women are always the innocent virgins. In this one, she embraces this Raycast persona put on her, this label, because of something that happened in her past, which we slowly unravel throughout the book, and she is not ashamed to say that she has lovers, and so we see that in here, and she's writing a tell-all book about her life and how she became the way she is. She's a feminist, she fights for women's rights, and there is a guy who meets her, runs into her because he's living next door, and he is an architect, and they instantly have an attraction. He's a single father though. He did lose his wife. There is a trigger warning for loss of a loved one. She actually died in childbirth. They knew she couldn't have another child, but she accidentally got pregnant and died, so he feels so much grief and remorse over it, but their romance was absolutely amazing, but he doesn't want to put his like kids in jeopardy and him in jeopardy, his job in jeopardy, because everybody absolutely hates her because of her reputation, which is totally unfair because men can be rakes and it's like fine, but women can't. And this took a really honest look at what it would be like for a woman to be like a rake, because it's not going to be something that is praised like the men are. It's absolutely not. She gets hate mail and she gets threats and people hate her, but I absolutely loved this romance. I loved the journey she took throughout the book. I loved how it developed with their romance and how he had to figure out what he valued in his life, so you definitely have to pick this up. One I just finished yesterday and absolutely loved was The Duchess War by Courtney Milan. This one was very unique because of spoilers, so I don't want to say how it's unique, but our main character, she is accused of something in the beginning and she's like, that's not me, and so she takes it upon herself to try to figure out who it is, and she's very quiet and reserved and doesn't like a lot of attention, but that's because she cannot stand crowds and being the center of attention in a crowd because of something that happened in her past, so she does have PTSD and anxiety over what happened to her, but she doesn't want her reputation ruined because she's hiding a lot of secrets, so she doesn't want attention, and so she tries to figure out who's doing this, and then the Duke shows up and they meet, and they kind of meet at a party accidentally because they're both hiding from something, and he's very intrigued by her, and so their romance develops from there, and I loved this. It's really interesting what her background was. He has a really difficult relationship with his mom because she was never around because his father was abusive, and so he feels like he needs to take responsibility for what his father did and not be like his father and build up this better reputation in the world than what his father did, and so he has a lot of weight on his shoulders, and it was just really good. And there was stuff that I loved in here that I can't tell you because I would spoil it, but you have to pick this up. Then I have Night Song by Beverly Jenkins. I read this in January as well, and this one, first of all, is unique for the mustache. We have a mustache hero, and our heroine is just all for the mustache, so definitely recommend this for that. But our heroine is a teacher, and he is a Union soldier, and there is a marriage of convenience in here. I don't want to say anything other than that, but she is definitely put on a pedestal for being a teacher, and she is given a lot more expectations, and so she can't even be like talking to a man in public because they'll be like, well, you're a teacher and you can't do that. So she does deal with that a lot, but I really loved the plot lines in here and the friends that show up in here. I don't want to spoil anything about that, but their romance is really great. There is trigger warnings in the beginning for loss of a loved one and lynching. Her loved one is lynched in front of her by Union soldiers, so she doesn't trust them, but then she can't help but fall for Chase, who is a Union soldier. It's just so good. There is a trope in here that I usually don't like, but I didn't mind it in here, and I definitely recommend you picking up Beverly Jenkins, anything by her, but I really enjoyed Night Song, and Destiny's Captive is definitely also a unique one from her. There's another spy one. I just really love spies in historical romances, but that is An Extraordinary Union by Alyssa Cole, and this one, first of all, it is trade paperback, which we don't have too many of historical romances. We're getting more, but in this one, our main character, she is a free woman, but then she goes undercover as a slave in the South to try to uncover secrets for the Union. And there is a man that is also a spy, but he is instead posing as a suitor for the daughter of the family she is a slave for. So she has to go through a lot of nasty comments from them and them treating her like a slave and working like a slave. And he has to play this part where he is courting the daughter of this awful family, and like he is a high society person, and he's in the meanwhile falling in love with her, and it's so good. Things turn really action-packed at the end. I cannot wait to pick up the next book in the series. There's 3 in the series I haven't continued on yet. I'm going to definitely, but if you want a spy one in the South during the Civil War, I would definitely recommend this. And the last one I have is Beyond the Highland Mist by Karen Marie Moning. I don't know where my copy is. I think it's in the back of my stacks on my shelves, but this one is unique because it is a time travel historical romance back to the Highlands, and it has I think it was inspired by Midsummer Night's Dream. There are like actual characters from Midsummer Night's Dream that are explained and like part of the plot, so I'm pretty sure it is. So I'm pretty sure the hero made a bet that no woman could like deny him, and then I think someone like broke up with her, and she's like, oh, I'm never gonna be with any man ever again. I hate them all. And so the fairy guy like hears that, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna make her come back and she'll never fall in love with him, and so he'll lose his bet. But they do end up falling in love, and it's really fun. That was not what I was expecting. It was a lot more like whimsical and fun than I thought was gonna happen, but definitely a unique romance. This is another one where I have to finish the series because I've only read book 1, but I think there's like a lot. There's at least 5 in the series. So if you want a unique, whimsical kind of Highlander romance with time travel, I'd recommend this one. And those are my unique historical romance recommendations. Let me know down below if you have any other really unique historicals that you want me to read. I would love to hear. As always, thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.